Welcome to Office Hours at TradersPost for December 10th, 2024. I'm Tom Hartman, Marketing Manager here with Mike Christensen, CSO of TradersPost, and special guest Trevor Lyman from Trade Beacon. We're here to answer your questions about using TradersPost to automate your trades. We want to make TradersPost the best automated trading platform for your needs, and for that, we need you, your feedback, and your questions. Thank you very much for joining us. How's it going, Mike?
Doing well, Tom. How about you?
Excellent. Now that I have a teleprompter, I can remember the whole spiel at the beginning, not stumble over my words. It'll be great.
You did well. I had no idea you had a teleprompter or that you were reading that. So you nailed it.
And Trevor, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Excellent. From what I'm hearing, you have been in the TradersPost sphere long before me, so Mike has an affinity for you over me, but that won't last forever. By this time next year, you will be a distant memory.
We'll check in at the end of the show whether I'm still on his good list.
Don't get jealous now, Tom. I still got you under my other wing.
Perfect. So I just wanted to get a handle on that. I mentioned Trade Beacon at the beginning, but Trevor, I was hoping you can give us a little bit of rundown of what Trade Beacon does.
Yeah, for sure. So we launched in January of last year. We saw a need for just hooking up TradingView strategies to Discord. Discord, unfortunately, is kind of the best notification system. And what we had noticed in our own trading was that, if we'd only caught, a divergence on a particular time frame for a particular stock, we could have, gotten a big move. So we were like, hey, why don't we take a significant amount of time and create 300 alerts from TradingView and hook that up to Discord, and our the fans of trading and the people that we already knew from our own Discords that we were in, we were like, hey, we're launching this thing, let's hop in there for free. And we sort of did like the free to paid model, and ultimately has grown from one indicator that we provided. Now I think we have around 8 indicators with auto trading services, a couple different bots that are running. So it's a lot has happened in the last year, and we're just happy to be here, honestly.
Awesome. How does TradersPost fit within that whole scheme? Obviously, we're using that for the automation, but were you always using TradersPost, or was it a godsend when it showed up?
Yeah, no, we weren't. We had a trading bot that would run off of supply and demand zones where we could pass those trades onto Discord. As we created more and more indicators, a lot of our customers were just like, man, I wish that I could have taken this trade in the middle of the night. So we were looking for a solution for, hooking up those indicators and strategies to people's brokers. One of our buddies had said, hey, have you heard of TradersPost before? I thought that it was going to be super complicated, and there are elements that are pretty complicated, but for me, coming from like the Webhook world and pushing notifications to different services and reformatting JSON and stuff like that, it was very straightforward. So it's been, knock on wood, it's been glitch free and a pretty awesome service for us, especially being able to give people access to the strategies. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that kind of early on, that it wasn't Zapier that you had gained a lot of experience with. It was a competitor to Zapier that gave you some of that familiarity of wiring services together. What was the name of that platform again?
Pabbly.
Pabbly. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So obviously using platforms like that is a really good analogy for TradersPost in general, because it is kind of a similar concept. You're connecting the webhook alerts from TradingView off to TradersPost, and then we're routing everything out from there. But I guess in your case, it makes it even more attractive, and especially for strategy developers or people who are sharing a strategy to their community, to use TradersPost because of our built-in sharing functionality. How has that experience been for you from an access standpoint, like managing access to the strategy and sharing out signals to your subscribers?
Yeah, I mean, it's when people sign up, I think that most everyone expects that it's going to be a lot more involved as far as the process is concerned, because of kind of the simplicity of our strategies. We don't have, everything is basically handled by TradingView as far as the take profit and stop loss and all those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. So when we add people and give them access to our strategies within TradersPost, it's just a couple mouse clicks and they hook up their broker. And I remember in the beginning, it was kind of just like a little harrowing, because you just Like, okay, like that's it. Like, let us know how that first trade goes. So as we've learned, kind of, become comfortable with the fact that, if a trade exits and someone's hooked up to the strategy the way that we have it written, they won't enter, the backside of a trade. That was kind of nerve wracking at the beginning. No, it's been super awesome to be able to give people access. We can see when the trades fire. We don't have a ton of visibility into if it errors, but because we have a good relationship with our community, I'm always kind of going, hey, I saw this was doing this. Can you give me more insight into how you have this hooked up? But everyone's loved it. So
that's great. Good to hear. I think one other aspect there in terms of it being a technical product is that all the heavy lifting is really done by you. Anybody who joins TradersPost to subscribe to your strategy really just has to connect their broker and subscribe to your strategy, make sure the settings are the way that they want them. The trading settings are relevant to them, position size, take profit, stop loss, if that's relevant, things like that. But they don't have to worry about the TradingView side of it, the take profit, the stop loss, the alerts themselves. All that's coming from you. And then you're sharing out that signal to the rest of your community, which I think, is obviously great from their perspective, because then it's just less work for them. They have less things to figure out. So as a strategy community, you get this advantage to not only share the signals, but also like share the technical process is owned by you as well. Does that sound about right?
For sure. And I think that what's funny is in the beginning, we thought that the hooking up to the brokers would be the most difficult part. But since TradersPost is so straightforward, and especially with giving people access is super straightforward, like, we were always worried that people would, create their own strategies and hook it up to TradersPost and they won't need us anymore. And it's like, it's very easy to, once you kind of have some experience, to hook up a strategy to TradersPost, have it fired to your broker. And I think a lot of people are like very anxious to go, hey, let me mess around with it. Anyone can do it because of how easy it is. Do you have a strategy that actually is profitable? I mean, that's a whole nother thing.
That's the harder part. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's just like anyone can do it. I mean, I could teach anyone to do it, but do you have a strategy? Does it account for everything? Because people look at back tests and think that that's going to work. But it's been funny because people will go, oh, I'm going to hook this up, and they're like, oh, this isn't how I thought it was going to go. It's like, well, it's not as easy as, the strategy part's the most difficult thing. TradersPost makes the rest of it easy.
That's right. Yeah. And we definitely don't want to confuse the two. We're trying to make a very easy product to automate trading and automate the process of sharing strategies with other people. What we know is almost an impossible endeavor sometimes is creating a profitable strategy. So good on you for finding one in both gold and M&Q. Can you tell us a little bit about the strategy concept itself and kind of how it operates and what people can learn, or where people can actually find you? I know you're on tradebeacon.io, but if they're interested in learning more about it, it'd be good to hear how the strategy works and the history behind it.
Yeah, for sure. So we have 3 strategies right now. One runs on M&Q on the hourly. It's basically like a mean reversion strategy. Our gold bot runs off of the 5-minute, and that is running off of micro MGC. That is a strategy like the M&Q one has a stop loss, has a take profit. Gold bot doesn't. It'll average down on trades, and it'll keep moving the profit up and up and up. That one has been extremely profitable for the people that have been hooked up to it. It's been running for 6 months. I think on the 50K account, a number of people are up like 12 or 15 grand, which is kind of crazy. Nice. We have a third one that it's running off the same principles as the gold bot, but it doesn't average down. It has a stop and it has a take profit, and that's still running on the 5-minute. So with us, it's been a lot of, finding that balance between small time frames, because everyone wants something that's going to enter a lot of trades, during the day, not like high frequency, but they're like, hey, let's have it enter a bunch of times during the day, and balancing that out with realistic expectations of slippage and execution times and all those things. So yeah, it's we've been just trying to figure out, one, the things that are profitable, two, the things that are not as stressful. Goldbot is awesome, but we care a lot about people and their money and everything, and it's a little bit stressful when kind of, you know, things are being averaged down. So we're always trying to find that balance between making money, being realistic, not losing money, and, you know, making sure that our strategies are operating well and we have kind of redundancies and stuff like that. And I think that that's where TradersPost has really allowed us that visibility to make sure everything is firing where it should be.
That's great. That's great to hear. I guess maybe the other thing to ask about here is really, how has the process gone when things go awry from a strategy community perspective? Like, it sounds like you're in touch with everybody via Discord, but as a strategy owner on our platform, you know, do you feel like you have all the insights you need to manage the trades as they go through as well?
Yeah, for sure. I remember when we first went live, you know, it was our our members are very, like, not like they're okay with it being beta, but it was definitely like a little beta when we first went live. And I remember that first trade went through, and we were like, all right, you know, it's maybe it had to take. We couldn't remember what happened, but we went to exit everybody, you know, just to make sure that everything was running well. And I didn't realize you could just flatten, and ended up like selling and then selling short. It was just like this whole, like, I didn't know how to just make it end. If we were like, all right, that was crazy, let's just end it.
The magic of action equals exit.
Exactly. So becoming, you know, just being very comfortable and going, okay, like, if I send an exit signal, like, everyone's exit, everyone's out. Because, you know, the downside of this whole thing is just that we don't have full visibility. Two, we can't control what people are doing, whether they're exiting early, whether they're disconnecting. You just don't know. So when we're like, all right, let's just really make sure that this is done, you send an exit, and that's over. But yeah, it's just becoming super comfortable with the platform and becoming comfortable with all the functions, and just making sure that you understand that, because obviously this is people's money at the end of the day.
Yeah. Tom, did you have a thought in there?
Yeah, well, one, I love when you were saying the message for the 10 should be, I wish I could have taken that trade in the middle of the night. That's going to end up in marketing material, I'm sure, for TradersPost. But also the idea there of that the trades, the strategy needed to take trades throughout the day, because there's a performance of the strategy, and then there's people feeling like it's actually trading. And I thought that was a great idea, that you have to balance off how people feel about the strategy as well as the strategy itself. So that's pretty cool. Do you have anything? Here's my big question is, if there's any features on TradersPost you wish we had, any things that you wish we can add or change or do that might make your life easier. So you can speak now or forever hold your peace.
Trevor's like, I got a punch list of 75 things.
How much time do you have? No, I mean, it's just the thing. I mean, I'm literally texting Mike at 10:30 at night. Hey, have you ever thought about, you know, that's no, it's like there are things that I think, because I'm such a power user, and because I have a tendency to break things, where I'll go, hey, you know, I don't know if this is necessary, or maybe this is overly complicated. There is a certain, you know, nerd factor to it, which is necessary in order for, you know, someone to know how to create a strategy in the beginning. But no, I mean, we're working through a lot of different things. I think that TradersPost is just iterating every single day, every single week, and it's only gotten better since we've been signed up. You know, adding features that we're like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. You know, it's a delicate balance between having full visibility and the legalities of, you know, taking over people's accounts. So I think that TradersPost is, you know, has navigated that very well. And no, there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot to add, really. Just little tweaks.
Maybe, I don't know if this is something you want to speak to, but I know one area that we're looking to support more and more is around prop firm trading. Did you have anything you want to share there about how we can support your use of prop firm accounts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, we've talked at length about, you know, the entire thing that's going on now with prop firms, about how crazy it is. And, you know, I think copy trading and syncing of multiple accounts is huge. I know that you personally use TradersPost as sort of like a hub for all of your investments and all of your brokers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I think as we continue to see developments in the marketplace, Top Step, Apex, all those things, you know, copy trading, or, you know, throwing in those paper accounts, it'll be really interesting. We're super excited for, you know, anything that comes out of TradersPost in regards to prop funding. But yeah, I mean, copy trading would be big if we were able to push. For us, it's like, because we care so much about people, we're always trying to like figure out legally what we're able to do as far as if we disagree with a trade or think a trade should exit early and we kind of have our hands tied. We're looking forward to doing more prop things where it's on paper accounts, where we have more freedom to kind of go, yeah, I don't feel good about this, or maybe enter a trade that's not based off an automated strategy. So that'll be super exciting to see. That's a thing.
Yeah, and if it wasn't already clear from this, the hint I was giving here around prop firm trading in general, we are actively working on major improvements to the TradersPost platform to support this and support that whole industry. We're big fans of the growth of the industry and also the number of prop firm trading companies out there that are doing it legitimately. By the way, we're not fans of all the prop firms, but many of the big prop firms, and the ability to share ideas in the prop firm space, get through funded accounts, get through the evals, I think is an interesting space to be in, and something we're looking to support more and more in the coming months. We're working on some partnerships with some of the bigger prop firms as well.
Awesome. All kinds of interesting things coming down the horizon. So thank you so much for that, Trevor. We invite you to stay for the questions that are going to come. It'd be interesting to get your reaction from someone on the outside, but with such a history with us. So here are the questions we've had for this week. Just a reminder for everyone, if you have any questions, you can feel free to put them inside of the YouTube comments. You can place them on Discord. You can send them on Intercom or send them by email. We're happy to get your feedback in order to make TradersPost better. To start us off, we have a question here where someone was asking, do I need a paid subscription in order to try paper trading with an automated strategy? So yes, you do need a plan with TradersPost in order to set it up. This is one of the things I had to learn like right at the beginning, right? I think Mike, I even said this, why don't we just give like free accounts to a bunch of people for them to use? And you're like, Tom, there's a cost to the signals being sent to the paper trading account, and even if they're not sent enough for the broker, there's a base cost there. So that made a lot of sense to me. And then it sort of like hurts us to be able to support our paying customers if we have, can you imagine, thousands of people with paper trading accounts just for free, just for the sake of trying it out? It becomes cumbersome and not very viable.
I mean, we want to figure out how to support it better, but it is costly. There's the cost of data. There's the cost of the infrastructure itself. Every time a signal comes through, that's processing time that's spent. So, as you average that out over many free accounts, there's a limited amount of time that we can support free before we have to capture a little bit of revenue in order to offset that cost. So the main thing we're doing right now is allowing you to send a signal to the platform, but then you have to manually approve or reject that trade as it comes in. So auto submit doesn't become available. You can't botify it, if you will, or turn it into a fully automated trading system until you've upgraded to a paid account. Now that said, we're running promotions around this time of the year. We've got potentially one more coming around the corner here for Christmas. So if you're considering a TradersPost upgrade, feel free to reach out. We've got some promotions going on at the moment, and we do also have some free trial incentives as well. If you feel like you need a little more time or you really want to test the capabilities, we do have another coupon code we offer for the first month, which gives you a discount to try it out a little bit longer than the 7-day trial that you're on, and you're welcome to reach out on that as well. Great.
And we've, as you guys were just saying, paper accounts can be valuable in and of themselves if you're dealing with prop firms. Some people, that's their goal. They want the paper account. They don't necessarily want the broker account.
Right.
All right. Next up, I have Binance as a broker connection. How many Binance sub accounts can I then connect?
Up to the limit of your plan on TradersPost. So when we say brokers in our pricing plan, we mean broker accounts. So if you connect Binance and there's 5 sub accounts, then you would need 5 brokers at your pricing plan, which at the moment that would be, I don't have it all memorized.
It's the starter one. Not the starter plan, the basic plan.
The basic plan would be enough to get you there. Yeah.
I had a huge argument with.
No. I'm sorry. It wouldn't be basic. If you needed 5 broker connections, you would actually need to be on the premium plan.
Now, strategies. It's 5 strategies.
You're thinking of strategies, right? So a broker connection is at the account level. So if you needed all 5 of those sub accounts connected, then each one is counted individually.
So I had a client of mine this weekend where I had this argument with them with this whole idea of how that's broken down, and they were adamant that no, it's the same broker. It says the word broker, and so you should be able to have as many sub accounts as you want. And I was like, but you're entering an API key and secret for each individual one, and where it's the connection to each one that matters. And the argument was only settled when on the TradersPost website it actually says connections at the on the top bar. It doesn't say broker; it says connections. And he's like, oh, "Okay, fine."
We'll improve this. We've had this come up a few times. We need to improve the language on the pricing page to clarify that we mean at the account level. So if you have 3 accounts with the same broker, that's 3 broker connections.
Okay. All right. Next up. Is there a limit on the max signals sent via Webhook?
No, yes, and no. Like here's what I mean by this. So we want to be able to say you get unlimited free reign of the number of signals you can send through a single strategy and a webhook. Now, the reason we caveat this is that it's up to an acceptable use limit. In other words, we don't want you sending 1,000 webhook requests every minute. If we see bursting of signals or many signals being sent all at the same time, or many in succession, that gets up to the rate limits of the account, which we don't have concretely defined at the moment. There is no specified rate limit, but it's really from an acceptable use standpoint. If you fall outside of the number of signals we see from all of our other users, then we may reach out to you to figure out what it is that you're trying to accomplish. In our experience, and we've been at this a long time, many times a strategy is trying to turn over trades that quickly. They're under the impression that they're doing high frequency trading when really they're just giving up profits to slippage and commission. It's very unlikely that you're going to be able to turn over a strategy profitably with that many trades per second. It's not something that we currently support. We're not designed to be an HFT platform, but we do want to clarify you are welcome to send as many trades in a given month as you like for as many tickers as you like within your strategy settings. So if I'm on the starter plan and I have one strategy available to me and I want to trade, let's say 200 different tickers in stocks, as long as all those tickers are trading on the same strategy settings, they're all entering market, exiting market. They're all attaching a take profit and a stop loss in the same exact way. And I don't need the strategy settings to be any different. Or I want to specify the rules of the trading structure in my JSON message. Then I can trade all 200 of those, several times a day, be holding those positions for a couple of hours each. And it's essentially unlimited from that perspective. You can trade even more than 200 if you're crazy and you trade everything under the sun. You want to trade 2,000 different symbols in a month, one strategy, unlimited symbols. Just be careful with how many signals you send to us all at once.
So that's what I'm doing. I look at my logs and it's just constantly flowing. Yeah. And I just duplicated it out to another broker. I was like, this is going to break something. No, it broke something on TradingView. It didn't break anything on TradersPost.
With the number of alerts that you have? Or
yeah, just so many alerts. John messaged me. He's like, is your strategy broken? Because I'm getting like tons of alerts. I'm like, is it a problem? He's like, no, it's fine. A guy I talked to last week was convinced that the reason why we don't do, not just us, but any of the platforms does high frequency alerts is that high frequency trading is too profitable, and that the brokers want us to not allow that sort of it's conspiracy. They don't want us to allow those sort of trades.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to call it what it is. It's conspiratorial. It's the same thinking that leads people to believe that people are out there hunting their trade and trying to target them individually in the market. That's, of course, just not how it works and not what's really happening here. It's a timing factor. You're up against very large organizations using technology far more sophisticated than TradingView, where the trading strategy itself is on hardware. It's written into the hardware and it's responding in less than 7 milliseconds in many cases. And they're using a fiber optic connection directly to the exchanges. In the retail world, we are basically the slowest thing on the planet compared to that. We're over, a fiber optic backbone network, but then you have the delayed timing of pricing data, the delayed timing of TradingView, the timing it takes for the alert webhook to get sent off, the time it takes for TradersPost to receive it and turn it around to the broker. We live in 2-second space. So it's 2000 milliseconds versus 7 milliseconds. You're not even in the same ballpark.
And between myself and God, I don't need any other enemies in the market. I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to trading. I don't need the brokers to be doing anything.
Right.
All right. I'd like to confirm that I have my strategy subscription set up correctly and that trades will be executed at my broker without actually executing the live trade. What's the best way to do that?
And we've had this a few different times. Essentially, you can do a couple of different things. What I would suggest is just disabling the auto submit feature. And what that would do in your strategy subscription is allow the message to come through, the JSON message, which we call a signal, to come through to TradersPost. You would see the trade in the strategy subscription tab. But it won't execute with the broker. So that shows you what message came through, exactly how we would prepare the trade, but we wouldn't actually deliver it to the broker yet unless you approve it. So disabling auto submit is probably the best way to handle that scenario. Then you can send as many messages as you like without worrying about them going to the broker.
What if you wanted to know that the connection between TradersPost and the broker was fine?
Was correct.
So I've been sending limit orders at $0.
I mean, that's a good idea. You can send a signal for
like
a limit
MNQ
order
or something. Mark it in, mark it out, like you're losing $1.
Yeah,
or do it on a paper account.
But if you even wanted to avoid getting filled at all, then yeah, you could set a limit order. Probably not at $0. Many brokers will probably reject that order. They want you to send an actual price. So just send something that's well below the current market price. 4 or 5% below the current market price.
Excellent. Next up, is there any hope that the Charles Schwab connection returns?
Yeah, maybe, but we need your help. We need you and everyone who wants Schwab to reach out to Schwab and ask why we don't have a TradersPost connection. We have struggled to get Schwab to respond. It doesn't feel like it's anything we've done on our end, but Schwab is been fairly unresponsive. It's been a similar kind of situation with Webull, where we can't seem to figure out when the API is going to come back on with Webull, and it's uncertain whether the Schwab integration will ever go live.
It might help, Mike, if you join the Freemasons. You'll get some more information there. You'll figure out what's going on behind the scenes.
I didn't go to the right Ivy League school, apparently.
All right, next up, can I disconnect a broker without deleting it? I want to add another broker, but keep my original broker's info there in case I switch back.
Yeah, you can disable the strategy subscription. There is that ability, and then you can subscribe another broker to a strategy. And then whenever you're ready to switch back, you would just disable the second and re-enable the first.
So if someone has the basic plan where they have one broker connection, one strategy, can they add a broker in there, but then somehow disable that broker and add another broker in to go back and forth?
No,
I don't think so.
But I like that idea. Basically, you're saying if I disable one broker, can I leave it there without it counting against my plan? I was referring to the strategy subscription. We'd have to think about a feature where we allow you to pause a broker connection, if you will. Let me think about that. That might be something John has some input for.
I did have a guy who he asked me that question. I saw it inside the support tickets, but he asked me the question, and I think he was trying to find a way of gaming the system. That it wasn't like an honest to goodness, I just want to be able to switch brokers. He just really wanted to avoid upgrading, and hey, can I switch between this and that? I can even imagine someone. This was the type of person who would easily spend the time to make a Chrome extension that would then switch the broker to activate different things in order to avoid paying the extra amounts.
Yeah. Well, now you're making me not want to offer that feature.
Right. I just wanted to warn you. All right. My strategy performance in TradingView shows a max drawdown of 150%. How is that possible?
Well, it sounds like it was probably a futures account, and there was so much leverage in the trade that it went down well below your initial starting point. Because the TradersPost simulator is a very simple simulator, it did not account for liquidation from a margin requirement perspective, and it probably went further than would actually be possible in a real futures account. So in general, the TradersPost paper account is just for generic testing. It's not a very comprehensive or sophisticated back tester, or paper trading account. It doesn't account for things like slippage. It doesn't, account for commissions. And so it's not the perfect, most realistic paper trading account to work with. And this is another example of why. So I highly recommend using any paper trading account made available by the broker that you work with. Tradevate offers paper accounts. TradeStation offers them in futures as well. Tasty Trade does not, unfortunately, but maybe in the future they'll be exploring that. But at least between those two futures brokers, that would be worth exploring. Tom, did you nail down whether that was a futures account or not?
So what it looked like was the problem was that on TradingView, you have to make sure that so TradingView out of the box on a strategy won't have any commissions or slippage accounted for, but you can sort of simulate that. But I find that almost most of the people I deal with, where it goes for margin for long and short positions, they have this at 0. And if you have this at 0, TradingView will not stop the strategy from entering into a new position. So you can end up trading more than the value of your account. Now, the reason why you might want that is that, let's say you're not using the strategy for you don't want the strategy to stop setting signals, right? It's setting the signals where you need it to be, and you want it to continue. Well, then you want it to be margin 0 for long and short, because you just want it to keep on taking signals. But if you want to test the performance of the strategy, then you want to have a margin there that's realistic to the margin you actually need to have, so that it stops taking trades and you can see where your account might have been blown out.
Was the context of the question about TradingView's
yes,
drawdown?
Sorry. Yes, it was in
Did I miss that?
Okay. Yeah, you did.
I thought it was a TradersPost question. Well, we covered both versions of where that can happen.
That's right. All right, second to last question here. If the bot is triggered to buy, and at some point I don't have to wait for the bot to sell, but I close it manually. So they close the position manually that was open with TradersPost. What happens when the bot receives a sell notification? Does it just do nothing, ignore it, or does it take out a short position?
Trevor, you want to answer this?
I can do this one. Yeah. Okay. So as long as you're using like the default example JSON from TradersPost that has sentiment, or you write a sentiment, but it's was it current market position, I think is the thing. It's whatever the default one is. If you just had action as buy, quantity as whatever, then yeah, it would sell. It would sell short. If you have the sentiment, what the sentiment's doing is it'll say, like, if you have no position, it's going to go buy 1 to be long. TradersPost interprets that, looks at your broker. The broker is flat. It goes, okay, awesome. We're going to buy 1 and we will be long, and it enters the trade. If you flattened, when the strategy goes to sell, it'll have the sentiment as flat. So that goes to TradersPost. TradersPost connects with the broker, and it would say, okay, we're going to sell 1 to be flat. And the broker will go, or the communication, TradersPost will figure out and go, well, if I sell 1, I can't be flat because I'll end up being short, and it'll just error. We've had this every time. I'm like, does it really do that? I've seen it happen a million times. If you exit a strategy, as long as it's that default thing that has current market position, it will error. It'll just error. It'll say can't enter new, or can't close position because there's no position to close, basically, and it'll just error.
On the flip side, if you don't use the sentiment flag, which is really for TradingView strategies in general, that's why we built it in, is to sort of match the logic of how the TradingView simulator works. If you're not using sentiment and you're just using action, it's ideal to send action equals exit instead of sell 1 contract, for example. And the reasoning for that is that action equals exit means that we're going to go and look up your current position with your broker and exit the number of contracts that are there, whether you're long or short. The direction doesn't really matter. And that will prevent the likelihood of you accidentally selling and then ending up short 1 contract when you really meant to exit your 1 long contract.
Excellent. Okay, that question always comes up again and again in different sort of ways, but it makes sense to answer again and again. All right, here's one, our last one. Hi, what is the difference between an entry trailing stop and an exit trailing stop in the strategy settings?
Didn't we answer this like 2 weeks ago?
It came through as a support ticket. I only saw it today.
I swear I remember saying out loud what the analogy was between the two, but here we go again. So an entry trailing stop would be attached to your entry. Let's say I get into Microsoft at $100 and I want a trailing stop of $5 to trail after the price as the Microsoft price goes up. That would be attached to my entry. But if I send an exit signal and I don't have a current trailing stop in place, let's say I entered Microsoft at 100 and an hour later I decide I'm going to send an exit signal, that would attach the trailing stop to whatever the current market price is. So it just gives you the flexibility of deciding when you want to enable your trailing stop.
Perfect. All right, folks, that's it. As always, it's a pleasure to answer the questions and feedback that you sent to us. This week wasn't a bunch of like feedback requests, and you should have new systems here, new fish on your system. But if you take a look at the upcoming releases on the documents page for TradersPost, you, like me, will be excited by what's coming down the pike. I love all the small little changes. I love how things evolve with the TradersPost platform.
And this one's action-packed. I mean, it feels like your parents were like, well, we don't really want to get you a bunch of big presents. We just want to get 100 small presents. That's what's coming with the upcoming release is so many individual tiny little updates.
Perfect. And I hope, Trevor, you'll like it because, we make it with all you guys in mind. All right. So that's it for this week. If you have any other questions, please put them in the YouTube comments, send them on Discord, send us a support ticket, or message us in the chat in the back end of TradersPost. We want to make TradersPost the best automated trading platform your trading needs, and for that, we need your questions and feedback. We'll be back next Tuesday for office hours to answer more questions. We'll be here on Thursday for Blueprint and on Friday for After Hours. But for now, we'll say goodbye, and thank you, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.